Okay, so this is the platform, and when you sign up to a trial, the first place you'll come to is this welcome page. So for you to get started, let me just take you through this very briefly because this is important. You can play with sample data with some sample login details. You can also go through an Agile EA tutorial, and we've got different lengths of tutorial there for you, so depending on how much time you've got. When you get started, you can also navigate around the tool, but also add more users in. So rather than having 2 or 3 people from your organization sign up for a trial, you can sign up for the trial yourself and then start to include other stakeholders, other people in your team, other people outside your team, and start adding them into the trial and starting to build up the information as a team, which is really how you should be using your architecture. You can book demos with us directly through here as well. And we have what we call a 10-minute guide. So if you've only got 10 minutes, you've got a coffee break, and you want to use a tool, that's how easy it is. You can actually log in and start to use it. Okay, so let's start off by looking at over here at the corporate dashboard. Okay, so this is giving you a sort of a helicopter view on the information inside the repository. So there's a repository sitting behind the tool here. You'll have a client area you can log into. And what you can see here is that I'm showing different types of information here for different types of users. So if I'm an executive in the organization, I could look at underperforming capabilities. So these are business capabilities, so things like claims management, supplier management, managing the sales process. So these are all types of capabilities, and there's a few being shown here. The business importance is being shown as an attribute, and what date these were effective at. So when were these capabilities effective in the organization? So again, what we're doing here is we're elevating up into a dashboard your business capabilities. And over here we're showing critical business processes that aren't automated. Okay, so these have high criticality. So we've got accept claim and validate claim. And the example we're using here is an insurance system, an insurance organization. So here are the processes. These are standards in the organization. And we can see here we've got 2 of them. And again, these are rolled up to the dashboard. Now, as I move down here, if I'm looking at more at the IT level, I'm here looking now at applications. So claim validation, what life cycle stage is it at? We're phasing it out. For claim validation, home and away financial is live and legal aid back office is live. We can see here the number of active users on the application, and we can also see the value to the organization. And you'll see here we're using a lot of color indicators, and we can use icons to indicate information on the dashboard. As I move over to this side here, we're now looking more at the infrastructure, so some of the technology, the devices, the hardware, and system software. Again, how is it as a standard? What's the retire dates for these infrastructure components? And all of these attributes, then you can actually manage yourself. So you can decide what goes on your dashboard, what goes on the corporate dashboard, and you've also got a personal dashboard, so you can build your own personal view of the world here as well. Here we're looking at work package approvals. So what's the name of the work package? What's the approval status for that work package, i.e. project? If you're using things like Prince 2 for project management, you can start to include the status of Prince 2 stages in here. And then also the risk status. Is it low, medium, or high? And here you can see you can add views. So dashboards are really interesting because they give us an underlying view of information in the model. You can also do what we call calculated roll-ups on here as well. So if you've got financial information or financial planning information or data information, you can start to roll them up into other objects as well. Okay, so for example, I could see for a work package, show me all the application costs for that work package and roll it up into the work package. Okay, and as we go over to my dashboard here, I'm just looking at my critical processes. So for me as a user that's logged in, and in the top right-hand corner here, you can see my profile. and I can put whatever information I want on here and also personalize it. So I've always got a list of things that I'm either working on or want access to. Okay, if I click on this arrow at any stage, it takes me behind the scenes here. So now it's taking me into the object itself. It tells me it's a business process. You've probably seen as we move through the product that you're looking at different icons which show you standard representations of things like Archimate or TOGAF. And then down here we've got a list of attributes. So here you'll see the process criticality. Okay, and I can make things high, medium, or low. I can tag information as I go through on here. I can also connect things together as well. So, for example, I could say this business process generates an event. Okay, and that way, I'm now creating relationships between objects in the repository. You've also got up here a relationships tab, which shows you how things are connected together. And I can create relationships that way as well. Okay, now for any object up here, I've got 3 dots. Now the 3 dots on here show me the activity, so I can look at the activity log for who created what and when. I've also got a comment stream, and so if I want to have a threaded comment discussion, I can do that here. Obviously, I can add attachments and links in here. So if you want to connect, for example, this business process or an application through into a URL or a document or a SharePoint part, you can do that through here. You can also add in collaborators. Okay, so I can actually choose other users on the platform, give them a role, and add them in. And because on the platform here we're working in a collaborative manner, that person will receive an email from the platform telling them they've been added as a financial reviewer to this object to come and review it. Okay, and it'll give them a URL so they can log in automatically. Okay, so that's a little bit about the dashboard and some of the objects we've got on here, and I'll show you some more detail as we move through. So I mentioned at the beginning that we've got collaboration on here. So I'm actually logged into the platform as an administrator. So as an administrator here, I can set up things like system alerts so that everybody can be notified of something on the platform. So for example, it could be that I've done a major upgrade to the architecture, or I've created a target architecture, or I want everybody that logs on to fill in a particular attribute that I've just added into the platform. So you can set up alerts like that. I can also set up communities. So this gets very interesting because what I can now do is start to set up teams of users on the platform that allow, where we allow objects to be connected to those teams of users, which gives you role-based access. So for example, it might be that I want only solution architects to see certain areas of the architecture and to be able to work with it. I can set that up through my team views on here. I can also set up whether those teams are public, gated, or private. If I set up an entirely private team, it means that anything that's associated with that team and that the team associate with themselves is completely private and nobody else can see it. And we do some very nice things in terms of diagrams, for example, where we fade out content and hide content away from diagrams if it's not applicable to the user. Okay, so it's worth bearing in mind that roles and people, setting up teams are important so that they help you do collaboration. Okay, another important aspect of collaboration, I'm going to move over to the left-hand side here. Now, the left-hand side here is where I have all my views. Okay, so if you remember at the beginning here that I showed you the dashboard, if I just scroll further down here, we've also got what we call views on here as well. So I can set up, as an administrator, I can set up different views for different people in my organization so they only see the information that they're interested in. So for example, if I'm a domain stakeholder in the organization and I'm only interested in the claim management applications, so anything that's related to claim management, i.e. the business process or capability, then I can have a filtered view here just showing me that information and tie it to a menu here as well. And I can make that available just to a community. So maybe the application architects that own claim management. So you're really personalizing the content here for different audiences and different stakeholders. Okay, which makes the tool really useful. Yet rather than just giving them a repository of content they have to fight their way through, we can really personalize the content. And here you'll see I'm showing the bank application with 90 users with an application lifetime cost. It's live, it's got a standards class and a retirement date. And again from here, I can take any of these. This is now an application, so it's got a different set of attributes here. Okay, so initial live date, data next release, etc. We've got these categories here as well. So if I'm only interested in just looking at life cycles, I can turn off all of my attributes here and just turn on information to do with life cycles, which is one way of just filtering my content on the screen. Yeah, and here's life cycle information. So here I can see that we've got a live cycle. Yes, it's live between 2014 and 2024. It's live, and we've got an anticipated retirement date, which doesn't make much sense there. So I can just change that to, let's say we're going to plan to retire it in 2020, and save that. The other interesting thing here at the top here, if I just show you here, you can see here the description's got an @ symbol inside there. So it uses things like mentions. Yep. So like you get on things like Facebook, where you can look at different users and add them in, and they are notified when they've been mentioned inside any sort of object on the platform. Okay. We've also got what we call loose modeling. So if I want to connect together, I can use the pound or the hash symbol, and I can just mention other concepts that appear. So if I just filter on here on claim, I can mention other things as part of the description field. But what also happens, if a relationship doesn't exist, it'll create one for me as well. So you've got some very loose modeling if you prefer to work in that manner. Okay, now I mentioned collaboration, so let's keep on the collaboration theme. So we also support Kanban boards. So let's say, for example, that inside our insurance company, we're running through a project of improving the claims handling process. So I can set up what we call a Kanban board. And a Kanban board, some of you may have seen these types of applications like Trello and other application lifecycle management tools that support Kanbans. Here we're bringing it into the context of enterprise architecture. And here in this example, we're showing things we've parked, things we're not working on at the moment, things that we've got to do, things we're doing, and things we've done. Now, all of these objects on here, things like locations and application components on here, are all part of the architecture. So they're all objects we can use from the architecture, and we can start to say, actually, we're not doing back office. That's to do. We've done accept claim. We can tag things in here as well. And we can add new objects into this as well, so I can configure what goes onto the Kanban board. I could also define all of the stages as well on here and tags. Okay, now as I mentioned, those Kanbans are completely customizable, so they're a great team view for you managing your work. Again, something you can't do today, typically inside things like spreadsheets. So you end up using spreadsheets to manage some of the architecture, maybe your application lists, putting columns in spreadsheets, using a Trello board to maybe manage some of the work items you're working on, or have discussion threads. But you can do that all from an architectural perspective in here. And here's another type of Kanban board. So this one we set up showing, if you're familiar with TOGAF and the TOGAF ADM, so the architecture development method, okay, this represents that ADM. So you've got things like business architecture, information systems architecture, technology architecture. The different phases you're working on through the architecture, we can start to assign objects to those as well. Okay, and again, for any of these, by the way, anywhere in the product you'd click and you can just edit the object and work with it. Okay, so that's a Kanban, and that's so really we covered some of the collaboration aspects of the platform there, which is straightforward. Now, if you're interested in diagrams, then we're supporting all of the views from Archimate. We're supporting all of the views from TOGAF, and you can create your own views as well. So what I'm going to start off with is just showing you a very high level, or a couple of high level viewpoints to give you some idea of how this works. So this is a capability map here. Yeah, very popular. Yeah, a lot of people start with capability maps. Probably something that you've got inside PowerPoint already. Okay, so this is actually part of the architecture. So if I just click on View Object here, yeah, you'll see again this is an object. It's called a business capability here. It's got things like effective date, yeah, delivery date, business importance, criticality, etc. Okay, these objects are all definable. So this is showing product marketing and sales contains product. It contains the marketing capability. Within the marketing capability, I've got market research, product and service marketing, cross-selling. So if I open up and have a look at market research, we have a look at its relationships. You'll see it's part of marketing. And I can navigate to marketing from here. Yeah, and open up the marketing object and see all its sub-capabilities. Okay, so you can navigate around the tool pretty easily. So that was a box-in-box style viewpoint. Let me show you one that has a mixture of things on here. So this is what we call a layered view. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out on this. So hopefully you might be able to see some of this. But here now we're showing business goals. So that the layered view is an Archimate view that allows us to go through the different layers of architecture. So it allows us to go from things like the motivation view, why are we doing things, what are the goals, the objectives, through the business layer, where we're showing things like business processes, business services, through to the application layer, showing which applications support those business processes, through to the technology layer. So let me show you some of this. So this is a goal to reduce manual interaction with our claims for our insurance claims. So we're going to improve the claims handling process. We've got on here some relationships. Okay, so this relates to the claim management business capability. And you can see that within the business capability here, then we've got application components that sit within that or are related to it. Okay, so quite often, a lot of our customers start off with just building a business capability map and then mapping out their application estate. So what applications do they have? And what business capability do they support? And that's what those relationships are showing on there. Okay. So the business capability claim management is supporting various applications, including a bank system, which comprises also the bank application. Over here, you'll see we've got business processes with roles. So we've got the claim reviewer participating in accept claim and validate claim, which are sub-processes of handle claim. And here's our flows. And also, if you're wondering, by the way, you can draw all of this from a palette on the left-hand side here. So you can drag and drop. Yeah, and just like you would with any drawing package, but this keeps the model consistent behind the scenes here. Moving through the layers here, we've got some business services or application services exposed to business processes, some applications, some of the technology they sit on, and now you can see how they relate to applications, servers, with all the relationship types. Okay, so I can actually connect anything to anything, so I can draw relationships between objects on here. Yeah, if there's more than one relationship type that can be used, it'll display it for me. So you can choose it and it will fill it in for you. Okay, so that's straightforward. I can also go into more of an analysis mode, which I'm not going to take you through at the moment, but I can analyze relationships, and this is really useful for gap analysis. So if I want to see between two things, if I make a change to the architecture, I can start to see what's the impact of change by analyzing the relationships in the model. It's going to tell me what's connected to what if I remove an object or change an object. Okay, I can also, just to show you, if I just take this legal aid back office system here, I can also say, show me the relationships, which now goes through and says, actually, you're connected to other application components on here. Yeah, and you can display them. And that's already displayed. If I take home and away on here, show its relationships. Yeah, now I can see it's connected to locations, application components, application services, devices. So I can choose exactly the types of information I want to show on here. So let's just say I'm interested in location. It's going to show me it's connected to the back office. Yeah. And when it puts the back office onto the diagram for me, yeah, obviously through the tool, it now also shows me all the other connections that back office has to the rest of my architecture. So again, in terms of model analysis, if I'm going to change the home and away financials, I know the impact on that location. I also know what that location is supporting in terms of other objects. Okay, so that's a sort of a layered view, and then you've got off that you've got different views on here where we've got entity relationship diagrams, we've got a business capability to application component view. So this one here is just showing me all my business capabilities, like claim management, and now all the applications that support that business capability. So you're using the same underlying model, but visualizing the information in different ways. Notice on here we're using curved lines. You have lots and lots of ways of drawing freehand lines on here. You can lay out, change node styles on here, to boxes, small boxes, whatever you like on here. And then change the line styles accordingly. You can also move all of these around as well. Okay, so if you're wondering about managing that, that's fine. So again, this is all web-based. Yeah, so again, it's touchscreen. So if you're using an iPad, you can just move these things around and save them. Okay, down here you've got a little floaty button. Okay, lots of little things you can do inside here. We can duplicate this diagram. So if you create a large diagram, you can duplicate it and start playing with it again and making changes and alterations. You can undo and refresh. Add this into a document or a publication on the fly. So you can create PDFs as you're moving through here. And you can also turn on or off what are called smart queries. Okay, so if I just move back here through and click on smart queries here, these are really useful. So smart queries allow me to actually set attributes, change attributes in terms of querying the information and then changing colorization or filtering things on the diagram. So let me just change that to a blue circle. And I'm going to say, show me an attribute for business capabilities, and show me where the business value change something else. So the business importance is critical. Okay, and I've just saved that. I'm just going to an abbreviation here of business critical. Okay, and now what you'll see on here, with that enabled, it's now colouring in business capabilities that are business critical. These queries can be very, very complex indeed. So you can actually create queries that drill down across relationships and associations and do all sorts of wonderful things. Very heavily used part of the tool. What you will notice as we move through is that those smart queries are reusable across other views as well. So for example, I could be on a Kanban board. And if I have business capability being shown on here, I could run smart queries from here as well and add them in. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple more views that might be useful for you. A very popular one is roadmaps. Again, something people are using PowerPoint a lot for. So you're having to lay out roadmaps of the architecture, maybe a technology map or an application map showing all the life cycles. So this one's just focusing on claims management. So what we're looking at here is all the physical software we've got, business capabilities, and the application live dates on here as well. Okay, so you'll see things here. Some things have like the system software. So the retire date here is a single date. Hence you've got these lines with the circles on here. The capabilities of duration. And we've also got the applications that are live on here, moving in a date duration as well. These are very easy to configure. Okay, so if I look at the configuration of this, I've got a number of lanes which I can define myself. Yeah, and here you're showing the retire date, yeah, for system software. For business capability here, I'm showing the delivery date only for one on here, the claim management, because this is a claim management focused roadmap. Okay, and then we can just visualize. Yeah, again, yep, I can put on that colorization, the smart query here, yeah, and now it's coloring in that business capability for me. So again, the same smart query. I can use your mouse, yeah, so I can pinch zoom if you're using a tablet, yeah, to actually change some of the formats on here. I can also change some of the dates on the fly here as well, so I can just either move it along, yeah, change the dates, yeah, whatever I want to do on here, depending on the timeline. Okay, another view on here, yeah, highly used is pivot tables. Okay, so again, if you want to see information and analyze information inside the repository, then you can actually put things into a pivot table. So here we're looking at maybe our application portfolios, which we're looking at here. We're looking at the total cost of those applications over their lifetime. But down here on the left-hand side, you can see a whole range of attributes. Okay, so very simple ones on here. I can look at maybe, yeah, what are the business processes they're supporting? Okay, so if there were any, yeah, it'd bring those onto the screen for me. I could also say, yeah, what's the business criticality of the application? Yeah, high, medium, or low. So now it's grouping by that business criticality. If I want to, I can put business criticality at the top here. Yeah, so now we're grouping. So now I can see, yeah, a very different view. Now I'm looking at the application cost, the lifetime cost of the application. I'm looking at the value of that, but I'm also now looking at the total value for all my high business criticality applications. Okay, and that gets interesting. I could also heat map that. So if I want to just focus on, yeah, what are the highest value ones, gives me some interesting information here. So it colors in red the highest, which I'll expect. So I'd expect all my business critical application to have the highest lifetime cost. But interestingly, our call center manager here, yeah, is actually a very high cost, yeah, but it's critically low to the business. So maybe that's something I should look at. If I'm doing an application portfolio management exercise, that's probably an area I'd like to target. I could probably go into Call Center Manager here and start to look at, you know, what's it linked to, who's the owner of it, etc. Yeah, what's it linked to? And I can look at that in an impact diagram as well. Okay, so coming back to the diagrams, when I mentioned impact diagram, if I want to look at the impact of change here, yeah, then I can show relationships again, as we did before. But this time, yeah, I can change the layout here to maybe be a circular layout. Yeah, and I can just click on an object here and actually start to look at, yeah, an impact layout. Yeah, and then start taking objects on that. So my customer's data entity is linked to claim handling, which I'd expect. If I show the relationships on claim handling there, yeah, we can start to expand further out. And then start to change the number of circles I've got here, the number of layers on here, etc. So getting a real impact view of the change of that application. So if you remember going back to the pivot table, I'm probably going to be interested in the lifetime cost of, yeah, a high cost application that has low business criticality. Put it onto an impact diagram here and start to see the impact of changing that. Yeah, so although it's high cost, yeah, and it's low business criticality, it might be actually welded into lots of different places in the architecture, which actually makes its cost a little bit different. And those are the types of things you can do when you've got a tool in place. Okay. Okay, the other thing that's highly used is charts. Okay, so yeah, very simple things like scatter charts. Yeah, where we can start to look at our objects. Yeah, what are they costing us over time? Okay, so this one's looking at the number of active users, yeah, versus the actual number of paid users. Okay, so here I can see I've got um, policy data management. Yeah, has got less than 70 users, but I've got 100 users assigned to it. And actually down here, you know, what I'm probably looking for here is that I've got a 45 to 45 relationship. Yep. Here I've got 50 to 60, so 50 active users, 60. So here I can see where I'm overpaying for software, for example, yeah, or underpaying, or whether I'm overactively using software where I don't have enough licenses. So lots of things, lots of types of information you can get out of your architecture just by using charts, using the information that's available to you. This one here showing me the lifetime cost of the applications over time. So Call Center Manager is my most costly application, which we know because we saw it in the pivot table. And again, if I want to look at that, I can do. And if I only want to look at the costing information, let's just turn on the costing information on here. Okay, so there's my application lifetime cost. And actually this one is a scorecard actually, so it shows you how a scorecard works. So what's the expected lifespan of that application? Yeah, I can see this is a SaaS application. Yeah, it's got a 50, let's just change this, pound cost. There's 400 users now, yeah, and you'll see the cost coming down for this. So if I lower the number of users, lower the monthly cost, yeah, and save that, now I'll start to change my outlook on that application, you know, across the rest of the portfolio. Okay, so that hopefully gives you a little bit of information about how the tool works, setting up different views for different users. It's fairly easy to use. Now, in terms of getting started, there's a trial on our website. What we would probably say to you is it's probably best to take a one-on-one walkthrough demonstration to get you prepped for a trial, so you can see what you're trying to get out of it. You can, on the tool itself, do an object import to get yourself started. We can also import from Visio as well, so you may find that useful. The object import goes from TSV files. If you've got information in other tools like Archie, which is an Archimate tool, or BizDesign, we can import that information in as well. Okay, so at that point now, what I'm going to do is really stop the presentation there and really open the floor for some questions. So, Dan,
hi Martin. Yeah, great. Thanks for that. Good overview of the tool there. So let me just check. If anybody does have a question, please submit it now. You can see we do have a couple of questions already, so I'll start with these. Okay, so a question about diagrams. How many types of diagrams do we have? And are they automatically updated if a change occurs? For example, you add an object or add a relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the first part of that. So we've got about, I think now it's about 40 plus diagram types in there. But you can create your own diagrams. So you can create your own diagram types in here as well. So actually, the world's your oyster in terms of the number of diagram types you can create. So a diagram type is just a view of the repository. So you've got an underlying model, which shows things like applications, locations, data, technology, and you can add your own object types as well. And then you can create your own diagram types which represent those objects. And the second part of the question then is how do you, does it keep everything consistent? So yes, it does. So if you add relationships in through the model, i.e. through an object or in a view or anywhere else, and you open up a diagram, then the information is shown automatically on that diagram, and you can hide information, but it does keep it consistent for you. So you don't have to worry about keeping everything consistent with the underlying model. That's exactly why the tool's there, which is the type of thing that you can't do with Excel, PowerPoint, Visio, or quite a few other tools actually.
Okay, excellent, thanks. And then we've got another question about importing data into the tool. So the question is, how about the input of data into the repository,